welcome back to another episode. This time we are going to be reviewing my new torch. I just bought the Bernzomatic FirePoint creator tool. This was totally an impulse purchase. I did not actually intend to buy it. I was at Lowe's getting soil for my garden and I walked around and I saw it was on sale. It was like half off. So I bought it and now we're gonna do a review. Now I have actually been looking at this torch for quite a while. I have wanted to upgrade my torch, but an oxyacetylene setup kind of makes me a little nervous and it's very expensive and I don't know if I want to have an oxyacetylene tank inside my home. Things can go boom. Anyway, you'll see I do have a new tank. I have map gas. The Bernzomatic FirePoint creator tool comes with this little setup. So I have this handle where I've already tested it. This is the next day actually. I got it yesterday or 2 days ago. I have already tested it and it's super simple to set up. Literally just unscrew the top of your map gas, stick this little thing, nozzle, regular, I don't know what it's called. Stick this little thing on, you just screw it on. Obviously when you screw it on, you want to make sure you're not using the hose tubing as leverage because that might break and you don't want that leaking or anything. It has an on-off. It's super simple to use. Get a nice long hose, so this can actually sit below my soldering setup. My soldering setup is a little bit further over here. And then yeah, so this has flame control, so I can actually really finely control how much fuel I'm using. And then you just click this in halfway, it starts to flame, you click it up, that will lock it and you'll be able to have a constant flame going for soldering. And then if you push it down, that will unlock it and your flame goes out. Setting it up and using it is super simple. I have actually been using it and I'm going to use it a little bit more. So I started using it yesterday and I actually practiced on a piece of copper. And when I first started, I had a very hard time melting copper solder. I was sweat soldering stuff and I could get it, but with my Dremel VersaFlame, which is fantastic, I love this torch, it's not quite hot enough for certain things. It is just butane. So having map gas is significantly hotter than the Dremel. Like I can solder things very quickly, whereas with the Dremel, I might have had to heat up a piece of copper to sweat solder it for 5 minutes or longer. 5 minutes, I would say usually it was at least 5 minutes, if not almost closer to 10 minutes sometimes, just to get it to melt, especially if it was like a little bit of a larger piece of copper. I had solder melting within like 45 seconds, a minute with the map gas, and that wasn't even on a very high flame either. Yeah, it actually works super well. I did solder some little tiny pieces yesterday, so I have started a new, more complex, almost like a 3D silver piece where I'm creating kind of a scene. So it's actually just cleaned up pretty good. I just took this out of the pickle pot. So yesterday I soldered this. So this is going to be a window with a scene inside it. And then it's going to have a little like fox and trees and mountains. So this is just like the start of it. So I sweat soldered this large piece of silver, but honestly it was very quick and it's soldered very well. I just got to flatten it out because it kind of obviously curved from the heat a little bit and I slightly messed up the corner, which it's okay, that happens. But overall I was super surprised at how much easier and how much faster my soldering went with this torch compared to my Dremel. Now this torch is great for certain things, not great for other things. So when it comes to like little fine details, I still got to use the Dremel for like the little tiny details, little tiny things, because I feel like with the map gas, I'm going to melt it. I was in danger and I slightly melted this one corner, which I have to kind of fix. So I'm going to work on doing that and I'm going to work on creating the rest of the scene today. So hopefully by the end of this video, while this pendant will not be finished, it will at least be all soldered. soldering a whole pendant that is comprised of like a bunch of 3D elements. There is several layers in this pendant, and switching between my Dremel VersaFlame and my new FirePoint tool, I'm going to say that the setup is exactly what works. So the little tiny elements and the sweat soldering for like the tiniest pieces, I've been using my Dremel, and then using the FirePoint for like all the big soldering. It heats up the piece very well. It is definitely exactly what I needed, to where like I think I'll be good with this setup for quite a while. I'm not going to need an oxyacetylene anytime soon. I'm super happy with it. I'm very glad I bought it, and I'm very glad I found it for half off. So overall, my review is that it is definitely worth it. I'm obviously not sponsored by Bernzomatic or anything. This is just my review based on using this, and so far I've been using this for maybe about an hour or so, and I am super impressed. When it comes to the gas overall, so I believe when I was Googling online, it seems like the map gas is supposed to last for an hour to two, depending on how much soldering you're doing and what level you have your flame at. Obviously, I've been doing a lower level. I don't need that super high flame, so I'm hoping I'll get more like 2, maybe closer to 3 hours out of this tank, depending again on how much I'm soldering. This is super fun. I absolutely love it so far. So I am super happy with this purchase, and I am definitely going to keep using this. And I think being able to create the larger, more intricate pieces that I like doing, this is going to make my life a lot easier. Now, the piece is not finished, so the close-up you're going to see is still just the soldering finished. I'm still going to have to polish up and clean it up, but that will be another day. So this isn't a super in-depth review. This is more just a general review with some first impressions, and like I said, so far they're pretty positive. So hopefully you found this useful, and if you want to keep seeing more videos, don't forget to hit that like button, ring the notification bell, and click subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.